This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, December the 21st, in 1984, the national title in the NCAA football season was decided. You may be thinking to yourself, hang on, it's December. How was it decided? Well, through some stupidity. That's why. Anyway, let's talk about the BYU football team and give you context. So BYU was led by the great Lavelle Edwards and played in Provo, Utah. They were part of the Western Athletic Conference, which is now kind of split into the Mountain West Conference. But anyway, they were the Western Athletic Conference champion. They were the only undefeated team in Division 1A, and they beat Michigan at the 1984 Holiday Bowl. A lot of people were reluctant to name the Cougars a national champion because, BYU has easy games. Because only two of BYU's opponents in that season only won 7 games plus. And they faced one ranked opponent all season, Pittsburgh, and that was the first game of the season, although they did beat Pitt. And then, of course, Pitt crashed, being 3-7-1, and of course, this was after Dan Marino left for the NFL. Every team in the WAC except for BYU lost 4 times. In fact, in 1984, Cougars were the last team from outside a power conference to win a national title. It was widely believed that the systems devised with a view towards the national championship on the field made it extremely difficult, and because of strength of schedule, make it extremely difficult for a team outside the power conferences to have championship contention. So you don't really know a lot of these players. Like Robbie Bosco was their starting quarterback. Kirk Gavea used to play for the Redskins when they won a couple of Super Bowls, so he was, and Fai Sikahima, who was a decent running back in the NFL. So anyway, their first game was at Pitt Stadium against the Panthers, number 3 ranked, and they won 20-14, scoring 11 points in the fourth quarter. After they beat Baylor, they crushed Baylor. Then they went to Hawaii to face the Rainbows, as they called themselves, and won. Then the Cougars were ranked number 3 in the nation by November when they beat Utah and were number 1 against Michigan at the Holiday Bowl. So anyway, in San Diego, Michigan took on BYU on this day in 1984. BYU knew they had to win to get the national championship and make almost every New Year's Day game redundant. In a sense, it was over 61,000 fans on ESPN. Now, of course, BYU was obligated to play in the Holiday Bowl because they were the Western Athletic Conference champions, and that's what the bowl game was. That's when conference tie-ins basically were major and all that. Of course, BYU had a strength of schedule problems and all that. And rumors were circulating that BYU would play in the Fiesta Bowl. There were plenty of teams that could have played in the Holiday Bowl, but because of the payout, especially 7 schools said no, especially Boston College, who just got off that shocking Hale Flutie play to sink Miami. So it was Michigan, who were 6-5 and who got the Holiday Bowl stuff. And yes, the great Jim Harbaugh was at quarterback, but he broke his arm and was out for the season. They had to go through a couple of sophomore backups and all that. BYU actually only won by 7 points, 24-17. So Michigan did better than everyone thought they did. It was weird. It was amazing and all that. And as I said, this was the only time in college football history that the eventual national champion played his ball game before New Year's Eve. And people were angry and all that. Washington was mad because they were deprived and all that. BYU went to the kickoff classic to face Boston College and won against Boston College because Boston College lost Doug Flutie to graduation. BYU faced Washington, and Washington, of course, were angry about being deprived of their title, national title. But BYU won 31-3. So BYU actually did well. But then they lost to UCLA on home turf, and their 25-game winning streak ended. So yeah, it's kind of weird how the NCAA would have the national champion be crowned before New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. But that's what happened. But changes were in the air about strength of schedule and national rankings and all that. It's not just because of the win-loss percentage and all that. Sometimes you'll see a one-loss team do better than a undefeated team in polls because of their strength of schedule. So that's the way it goes. And, well, BYU won the national title. So I guess that's okay. Anyway, I'm Jeff Dunn. I do.